time ago, so it's great to have Livia here to be able to be that voice. And we'll also, be looking at the committee structures, and hopefully she's agreeable to be on the Parks, Recs, Leisure Services, Economic Development, Tourism Committee, because that committee especially would be useful to hear what youth are interested in. So we're going to begin with the swearing in, and we're just going to have Livia and our SAO go down to the end there, and then be easier to take pictures, and that way you're not hid in the corner here. So.
So Lydia, to start with, when the rest of our council was sworn in this year, it was a reminder, and I explained to you earlier that council sets the direction for the town. They are the rudder and we are the engine when it comes to, they make the decision, they set the direction, we make it happen. So part of setting the direction is understanding the importance of sitting on council and actually setting the direction for the town and everyone that lives in the town. And as a reminder to that, each of the councilors has a compass. So when they're making decisions, they reflect on why they wanted to join council, what direction they were going, and what direction they want the town to see. So this is kind of a symbolic. We'll start with that, and then I will get you to swear in. Okay.
I, Livia Amos, promise to fulfill the duties entrusted to me as a counselor for the town of Inuvik to the best of my ability.
Congratulations and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Great, welcome to town council, and just also want to welcome Livia's grandparents here. Her dad was traveling, but the grandparents happened to be in town, and so we're glad you were able to attend because it's a big deal for us, and I think it's a big deal for Livia. So we're glad you're here. Thanks very much for showing up. The other thing I want to do before we begin is just a congrats to Councillor Gillis, who's been re-elected as a chair of the Inuvik Community Corp. So congratulations, and it provides some great crossover as far as sharing information, communications, all that kind of stuff. So we're glad you're with us, and also back in that position. Congratulations. All right. Adoption of the agenda. Now we do have some additions to the agenda. So we have added the item number 9, the 2 bylaws, which the minister signed. So we've added that, and then we also have a revised snow clearing policy. And then we looked at the calendar and realized the 6th is the first day that we get back, or the first day that staff get back, and other people getting back from different holidays over Christmas. And so we will cancel those meetings because there'll be nothing prepared for those meetings. So those are the 2 items under new business, and then the 2 bylaws. I think that's it, right? Yeah. Okay. So mover and seconder, moved by Councillor Barlick, second by Councillor Lemieux. Any further discussion or additional additions to the agenda? All those in favor? Okay, motion carried. Declaration of conflict of interest or pecuniary interest with any of the agenda items. Nothing declared at this time. Delegations, presentations, and petitions, and we have a presentation from the RCMP on their monthly report, which is in your package, and you feel free to grab the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council, and welcome to the new council person. I'd love to get some questions from you periodically, so please feel free to ask away, especially from the youth of the community's perspective. It'd be really good to hear sort of what you have to say and what your peers have to say. So congratulations and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I think, I'll point out sort of one of our bigger successes for the month of November, and that's getting that illegal firearm off the streets of Inuvik. It doesn't go without saying how dangerous those types of things are, right, in any community, but especially in the community of Inuvik. So just good work by the members to respond to that call, investigate it properly. We're able to arrest the suspect and seize that firearm. Anytime we can seize an illegal firearm, I'm over the moon about it. So definitely proud of the members that responded to that call. I'd also like to point out, it's more of a disturbing trend, something that even my officers sort of noticed in November was persons offenses, specifically sexual offenses at the end of the month were quite high for Inuvik. And generally, there's not really a good explanation for that. Whether it's people feel more comfortable reporting, whether they're happening more. I'm not entirely sure, but it's alarming. And I know we've been working very closely with victim services for those individuals to get the support they need. And it's upsetting too, because it just came to the close of the action days against violence against women. So, we will work as hard as we can with our partners to help address that, help support people that have been victims of sexual offenses or gender-based violence. And, the good partner we have at Victim Services and other agencies in town are very, very helpful for that. So, sort of it from my end, but always open to lots of questions and comments, concerns, if anybody has them.
Council, any questions on the RCMP report? Councilor Merrill?
I just noticed some of the numbers. I wasn't sure if they were as high as they look, if there was a typo. So we had 149 mischief and disturbance calls in the last month.
That's correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
And 91 basically obstructed enjoyment charges as well, eh?
So those two are generally what those calls for service are going to be people, when it says causing disturbance, causing issues at, say, the North Mart, at someone's residence. Generally alcohol is involved and not necessarily leads to anybody getting charged, but it's a call for police service. Sometimes it's simple as asking the person to leave and they leave on their own accord. Sometimes pending that individual and their ability to care for themselves or leave the premise, it might end up in an arrest. So that's sort of where those numbers, it's an over encompassing sort of lady score, those types of things.
It's a bit of a catch-all for any sort of disturbance. Okay, that doesn't fit onto one of the others.
Yeah.
That answers the question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions on the RCMP report, Councilor Merrill?
Great, thanks. Thanks again for all your guys' work on all these things. So again, a friendly reminder, I'm sure you guys are all already thinking about it, but holiday season's upon us, so road safety is gonna be key in the next little while. So hopefully you guys can check stops set up and make sure people are safe on the roads.
And glad you brought that up. Last weekend, not the start of the Christmas party season necessarily, but we had our national anti-impaired driving day. And we did have check stops in the community center, and we were able, through one of those check stops, to take an impaired driver off the road. We were given a great tool under the criminal code a number of years ago. It's called mandatory alcohol screening. So if you're driving and we stop you, we don't need any grounds at all to give you a roadside screening device. That's something that MAD Canada, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, fought for years. A lot of individuals, because of the way they drink, can be difficult to detect signs of impairment. So they passed that law, and Saturday night mass demand was used, and it took an impaired driver off the road. We did charge somebody else with impaired driving that day too, not via the check stop, but somebody called it in the community, so we were able to take them off the road too. But you will see us out and about all holiday season, Christmas season. Thank you.
That's great. Any further questions? Oh, sorry, Councilor Parrott.
Thanks, sir. And again, thanks for the great work that you're doing in our community. Speaking of impaired driving, I want to understand the chart that's within your monthly report. So I know there's a typo. You know, last month we saw your report saying 105 impaired year to date, and today we have 1,100. I know that's likely supposed to be 110, but you had 6 in the last month, which that number wouldn't total correctly. So I want to make sure I'm understanding how you're calculating the year to date.
Yes, that definitely is a typo, and it should be, should be known that those numbers are reported, crimes. They don't necessarily lead to charges, or anybody getting arrested. So anytime you see, so with 34 assaults, for example, the one break and enter, those are not necessarily charges, but that's what's been reported or that the police have discovered. So that's how we capture that, and I apologize about that typo, and I'll make sure that gets fixed, but thank you for pointing that out.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
I noticed that the unlawful sale of alcohol bootlegging is 0 for this month and 0 for the year. And I guess I'm somewhat reminded every time I go down to the park at the bootleg park at the river, or whatever, river park. And I would say not every week, but certainly every second week, there's a pile of Smirnoff bottles, which, we know isn't local consumption. Nobody's, scarfing down 4 cases of Smirnoff. So whether it's going into the community, outside communities, or whether there's bootlegging within the community. And I'm just wondering, is that a challenge to identify those people and charge those people? Or are members just busy with other more high profile cases?
No, we would take the unlawful sale of alcohol seriously here in Inuvik. In my policing experience, it's generally more prevalent in a community that doesn't have a liquor store.
Yeah.
That's not to say that it doesn't happen here. We're attuned to that, but generally, so the Clavics, the Tuktoyaktuks, the Fort McPhersons. So maybe that's where those bottles that you're seeing are from. But it isn't something that's often reported. Often we get a lot of Controlled Substances and Drug Act reports.
Yeah.
But since I've been here in the last year and a half, you're correct that we haven't got a ton of bootlegging calls.
Okay, but yeah, interesting, because certainly the number of empty boxes, which means they're repacking so they don't get caught when they go into the communities, certainly is prevalent at that number of different places. And for the most part, it appears bootleggers are fairly lazy because they never ever put them in the blue box. They're always stacked out. They're beside the blue box, but not into the blue bin, which I'm not sure what that strategy is about. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and there's no offense under the Liquor Act. Like there's no maximum amount of liquor you could have in a place like Inuvik.
Yeah.
Once you get into the communities, they have obviously their own community restrictions. But I mean, in theory, you could go to the liquor store and buy $5,000 worth of liquor without any trouble from us, right? But once you cross into one of those communities, it becomes illegal. But here in the community, they do that, unless you're selling it. But
Councilor Merrill?
I just wanted to comment on that you had 43 basically wellness checks and mental health act calls. That's virtually 1.5 a day. So I hope you guys are getting support from the DNWT when you're doing those calls. So that's pretty tiring and intensive.
we are, in Inuvik, we're extremely lucky. First and foremost, the hospital is obviously a great partner in these calls, and then the good folks down at 66 Franklin. There are community resources here. It is a challenge, though, that often we're sort of the only ones people can call in a time of crisis, and if there's violence or safety concerns involved, they 100% should call. So I thank you for pointing that out.
That's a lot of work, so thank you.
Any further questions from council?
Yeah.
Councilor Lemieux?
Now that we've got, now that we've got the Christmas season coming, are you guys planning on doing like increased patrols around town, like especially in the evening, like maybe midnight to 6 in the morning kind of thing? Is that kind of a plan that you guys have?
Yeah, so again, we will definitely do a much more increased traffic enforcement. But we do sort of know our prime times of crime, for lack of a better term. And we adjust our schedule, we make sure resources are in place during sort of those high crime sort of times that you're talking of. You know, I wish we could have you know, multiple officers all the time driving around. Obviously, my resources don't dictate that, but with what we do have, we definitely do our best to be here as much as we can.
Okay, thanks.
Any further questions? All right, well, thanks very much for the report and for your time coming in. It's a very informative report. It's somewhat shocking for sure when you see the numbers, but I guess sometimes you need to see that to know what's really happening out there. So we really appreciate all the good work the members are doing, and I know they're working on a couple of big cases right now, and we hope that they're successful in solving those cases. So thanks again.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have a good
you.
evening.
Thank you.
Okay, we are, well, the Aurora College delegation is on Monday because they're in town then. We let that delegation and the question and answers go on for a considerable length of time, but I just felt that it was a very important issue and the council had a lot of great questions, so we'll be following up our concerns with a letter to the board of directors on the concerns that everyone mentioned. And also we'll be copying that to the indigenous groups in town, our MLAs in the Beaufort Delta region, and anybody else that we feel is important. It's yeah, it's totally embarrassing that there's basically one program here, office and business admin, and that, you know, 25 full-time students, where we know we have a lot more people in the region that could be taking programs that they're interested in if they were offered. So we'll keep working on that initiative. Public question period. It doesn't look like we have any public, so we're good on that. Sam, you're here for the bylaws?
Yes,
Yeah, good.
I'm not public today.
Not public. Okay. Adoption of the minutes 6-1 moved by Councillor Baerlich, second by Councillor Day. Any further discussion, corrections needed on the minutes? Councillor Barrett's good. All those in favor? Motion carried. Action items that are coming out of the minutes. We went through these on Monday, and there's, as far as I know, there's nothing new on any of these items. Any questions on any of the action items? Okay, I won't go through them again. Item number 8.1. The request for council decision, property tax auction. We had a discussion on Monday, so let's get this on the table. Moved by Councillor Baerlich, second by Councillor Raymond. Any discussion on any of the items on this list? Councillor Merrill.
Just so we all understand the process, when people's property is listed here, how long do they have to come in and pay off those arrears before it goes to auction? What is the date they need to be in for buy, is what I'm asking?
So they are advised, I'm not exactly give you the exact number, but it is up to a year where you're on, you know, you're in arrears, you're given warning, and then they are given registered letters as well through our legal counsel. And then it is notified, it gets posted in the newspapers, and then they are notified that they have up until a certain date to either come in and make arrangements or pay it full off. If not, their property is going to auction. So I believe it's at least 6 weeks warning once it gets posted
Thank you.
as well. They're well aware.
Thank you.
Just in case people didn't read it, these were taxes in arrears as of December 31st, 2023. And then the notices and postings were throughout 2024. And then they will go for sale in 2025. So again, as I mentioned the other day, if you know somebody on this list that, you know, you could encourage, all they have to do is come in, talk to,
If somebody is on there and they want to make payment arrangements, then they would speak to our lands officer. And there is a calculated formula where they would be paying in installments throughout the year. And they would agree to that formula. They have to adhere to that formula. If it's not, then we take other actions. So they have to come in and at least make a agreement for a payment formula.
So it's not just one payment and then they're off the hook for.
No,
another-
it's a payment plan.
Unless they're being opposed.
I mean, they can pay off the entire thing and they're off the list for sure. But even at the auction, after the auction, then they have 30 days. So if someone was going to buy their property, they still have 30 days from the time someone has expressed that they want to buy that property in a tax sale to come in and make a payment or make a payment plan. We're not in the business and don't want to be in the business of taking property away from people. But at the same time, we have to have leverage in order to encourage people to pay their taxes. Otherwise, we can't run the community. Okay, any further questions on the request for council decision on the auction? All those in favor? Motion carried. 8.2 is related to that. We just assigned the auctioneer. Moved by Councillor Amaro, second by Councillor Lemieux. All those in favor? Carried. 8.3, we are discussing in camera. So, again, just to allow discussion on that. 8.4. And I'm just gonna confirm these, so we'll do each one of these separately, just because we want to confirm the board members. So appointment to the Public Works and Protective Services Committee, moved by Councillor Wayman, second by Councillor Merrill. So we have Councillor Wayman, Councillor McDonald, Councillor Lemieux identified for that committee. Any further questions?
Nope.
All those in favor? Motion carried. Request for council decision, appointment to the Park, Recs, Leisure and Economic Development and Tourism Committee. Moved by Councillor Berlick, seconded by Councillor Day. We have Councillor Parrott, Councillor Merrill, and Livia Amos on this committee. Livia, you're okay with that being on that committee? Yep, perfect. All those in favor? Motion carried. The appointment members to the Finance Admin Committee, moved by Councilor Lemieux, second by Councilor Merrill. And so we have Councilor Barlick and Councilor Gillis on that committee. Anyone else at some point wants to get involved in that committee, just let us know. We got another spot if we need it. All those in favor? Carried. Request for council decision to appoint members to the bylaw Public Review, Policy Review Committee, and we have Councillor Day, Councillor Barlick, and Councillor Wayman on that committee. Any questions? All those in favor?
Need a motion.
Carried.
You need
What's
the
that?
You need the motion for it.
Sorry, moving so fast here, didn't get it. Sorry. Moved by Councillor Gillis, second by Councillor Merrill. I'm glad everyone was still in favor of the appointment of members to the naming committee. We can get a motion on that one. Moved by Councillor Barlick, second by Councillor Wayman. And we have on that committee, we have public members, but we have Councillor Merrill, Councillor Gillis, Anna Pingo, Karina Bullock, Jesse McLeod are on that committee. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, we are now on 8:10.
8, 9.
Where did 9 go? Oh, funded lottery committee, sorry. Get this on the table, moved by Councillor Bearlick, second by Councillor Day. Okay, the lotteries committee, we have Councillor Merrill and Councillor Day. Any further questions? All those in favor? All right. Now we can go on to 8:10. And there's some revisions in here. Let's get it on the table and we'll have a discussion about it. It moved by Councillor Bearlick, seconded by Councillor Lemieux. Okay. Let's overview any of the changes or
So the document itself will, if you look, along the right-hand side are the highlighted revisions based on your feedback from Monday night.
any further questions, comments on that? Councillor Bearlick?
Thanks for making the revisions you suggested. It's nice to see the little sub paragraph about accessibility in there as well, so. I have no further concerns with it as it's written.
That is all kudos to Director Ducommun.
Any other further questions on the snow clearing policy?
I just got one, if you don't mind, it's more
Press
clarification.
press your button there, Councilor Lemieux.
It's just more for clarification than anything. You've got designated areas, right, for the snow dome? Yeah. Does the community know, like, does everybody know, are they like labeled, like, I'm more concerned about us getting bombarded with calls because they hired Sullivan or somebody to go with a skid steer and push it into what might be a designated dump site, then that person getting charged for the snow removal, because that's kind of how it's set up, right?
So there is a map on the website that shows, oh, sorry. So there's a map on the website that shows about 4 designated areas where people in town can dump their snow. So currently our town contractor uses the one way out on Navy. But what we've done throughout this year has been to encourage contractors like Mr. Sullivan to go dump by the river. So that's where we're encouraging everybody to go to. And like I said, there's 4 different spots, not just one. So you can go to anyone closer to you, really.
Okay, so like Mrs. Smith down King Minya hires somebody to just come in and clear her driveway. That person that comes in and clears it, whether it's a handful of kids or whatever, if it has to be taken like out of town, like they can't just push it into the ditch.
It depends where you live. So for instance, somebody that lives on Boot Lake, for instance, right? They have that hill right opposite. There's nothing there, there's no ditch, we have nothing, it's not causing any kind of obstruction. So all we're trying to guide against is obstructing our contractor to do that work and creating more work for us.
100%.
And putting it in our drainages and blocking that, right? So totally depends on where you live. But like I said, there are 4 different spots on the map. So whichever one is close to you, whichever one you choose, you can go get them done there.
Okay, no, I just wanted clarification because I got a funny feeling we might see a lot of calls coming in possibly, right?
Yeah, well, and to be honest with you, the particular contractor you mentioned, he's been very good with that. Like he calls, he checks in with the infrastructure clerk.
Okay.
She directs him on where to go. So people like that already know that this exists.
So people doing this type of work are already aware of all this.
Pretty much.
Okay, so it's not really affecting like Peggy and John shoveling their.
No, not really.
Okay, good enough. That was it, just more of a clarification to me.
I think certainly too, this will be a, policy and a lot of education, so we're not gonna be out there, writing fines for people. From the get-go, it'll be an education on, okay, you can't be doing that because you're blocking either, someone's view on the road or or something, so, yeah, we've got staff that, you know, that'll be their job to just inform people, okay, here's where you're.
Yeah.
Any further questions, comments on the snow clearing policy? All those in favor? Okay, item number 811, request for council decision on canceling the January 6th and 8th council meetings. Let's moved by Councilor Raymond, seconded by Councilor Lemieux. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Okay. We are on item 9-1 now. Okay, these were added to the agenda at the beginning because the minister just signed these yesterday, so now we can do third reading. So 8-10 is, or 9-1, which is 9-4 now, not 1. 9-4 is the bylaw to, why is that? Oh, sorry. Gonna combine the two agendas. 9-1 is to acquire the, we're not on the bylaws, we're not on those bylaws yet. Request for council decision, bylaw to acquire commissioner's land. This is for the grave, the cemetery. Motion on the table, moved by Councilor Fairlick, second by Councilor Merrill. Any further questions on acquiring the land at the cemetery? All those in favor? Okay. 9-2 is annual borrowing bylaw for the corporate credit card. Moved by Councilor Merrill, seconded by Councilor Day.
There, we need to go back to that bylaw. Yeah, we need a first reading and a second reading.
Oh, okay,
Acquisition bylaw.
okay.
So the motions are, yeah, at the bottom here. This is what you need to do. So
Oh,
that's,
okay.
it's first reading and then get the approval and then second reading and then get that.
Okay,
Okay?
so again, because this is a bylaw, the first motion will be, it resolved that Inuvik Town Council hereby gives first reading to bylaw 2746 LND/24, a bylaw to acquire real property. That's what you just did. Now we need to do the second reading, which is the exact same thing. Moved by Councilor Lemieux, second by Councilor Merrill. Any further discussion on this? All in favor?
And then you will have to do a first reading and a second reading for the credit card one and the line of credit one.
Okay. But let's get a mover and seconder, then I'll read the bylaw. Moved by Councilor Raymond, second by Councilor Day. So we are, that the town council hereby gives first reading to the bylaw 2744 BORR/24, a bylaw to provide borrowing of 250,000 during 2025. All those in favor? Everybody in favor for using the same mover and seconder? All those in favor? Just make it easier. And annual borrowing bylaw for municipal line of credit, same thing, we're gonna require to move by Councilor Barlick, seconded by Councilor Raymond. All those in favor? Okay, and we'll do that for both bylaws. Or both readings.
Now we have the,
Now we're on 9-4, we get back to the other agenda. 9-4, the bylaws to amend the community plan, request for council decision, third reading. Get this on the table, moved by Councilor Lemieux, second by Councilor Barrett. Any further discussions, questions on this, Cindy?
This is the one that needed to go to the minister for approval. So since our last meeting, it has now gone to his office and you will see that he has signed it off with ministerial approval to change the R2 to a commercial to allow for the hotel.
Of which that land's probably been commercial for the last 50 years anyway, but
Yeah.
nobody noticed. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, the next one, request for council decision, moved by Councilor Baerlich, seconded by Councilor Day. And this is third reading on the amendments to the bylaw to allow construction of a new hotel similar. Okay, any further questions on this? All those in favor? Carried. All right. I'm just gonna skip over. I'm not skipping over anything. Because we can just get on to regular thing. Information items. Are there any new information items that anyone has? Are there any council concerns or questions? Councilor Raymond.
It went by me a little earlier there, but it was about Aurora College I wanted to comment on. I was kind of disgusted and to be really honest, when we discussed it in the presentation, like coming in here and saying their attendance is down.
Yeah.
When the actual truth is, and everyone here knows, I was really happy that all the counselors commented on it. I was a little lost at the moment, I guess. But they have to pick up and they have to offer better courses, as everyone said.
Yeah.
And they have to bring back all those courses they took away, as Councilor Merrill stated. But I'm really, really disappointed in them coming here and saying it's pretty much blaming the community for not attending. When actually it's not sufficient courses. And I wanted to say that earlier. I just want to put my opinion on it. And because we have so many young kids around here not doing anything and they're basically not interested in anything they're offering. That's all it is. Like I said, I really appreciate this council really stepping in and really them to their, I guess, giving them the gears about it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we're unanimous around the table on that, and like I say, in drafting the board letter, but also in drafting an email today to the rest of the leadership in Inuvik. I listed that as one of the items that we need to work together and to try to get, a program like the Natural Resource Tech program again, a program on information technology, which IRC is working on a proposal right now to do that because of collegism and recreation leadership, advanced, there's lots of programs people would take, getting that trades training going again to at least get people interested in some trades,
I don't understand their process. Like they should put out a dozen courses and the one with the most attention should be run, not just here's the 4 you take and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't understand the process.
No.
I mean, you look for the best interest of the community and you put out 20 courses, and if you get top five, well, that's the one you run. But it seems to me they only offer these 4 and that's it.
Well, of the stuff they're offering on there, 2 are almost the same, business admin and office admin, almost exactly the same. And then the other 3 were all upgrading programs. So there weren't even 5 there. There was 3 upgradings with different titles, and that's why I said to the president, not everybody wants, it's obvious, not everybody wants to take office and business admin. You've been offering it for 20 years. We need to shake that up. So I'm gonna be fairly like a dog with a bone and shake that up, and hopefully we can get the rest of the leadership in the community to also be sending a letter or letting it be known they're not happy either. I think we're a little bit behind. We should have been making our opinions known a couple of years ago, because it's been bad for now quite a few years.
Well, I think we should make it our #1 priority, because education and our children growing up in our community's life, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I got one thing.
Councilor Lemieux?
Who puts the programming together? Like, who decides what courses they do there? Who picks that? Is it just?
Well, the way that things are supposed to work, the Board of Governors, which there is a board. Joe Hanley, previous premier, is the chair of that board. Grant Hood is the member for the Beaufort Delta, and then there's members throughout the territories. The board helps set the direction, and then it's up to the president and their administration that, okay, here's our direction, this is what we should be offering, but why Inuvik and the Beaufort Delta or the Aurora campus has been kind of left in the dark. When we look at the other campuses, I looked at the numbers. Inuvik's been 25 to 30, Fort Smith is like 140, and Yellowknife is like 200. So why the bells haven't been going off before, I don't know, but we're certainly sounding the alarms now. Councilor Mayor.
Some of the history of the college is that in Inuvik, the only two place funded programs have been office admin and business admin, and even then sometimes they've gone to outside agencies for funding. Every other program, rec leaders was base funded, and so was our northern ENTP. But when I talked to them, they had to go up and get money from third parties, which meant they knew the element, which, and it's the only campus that's been put in that position over and over and over. We literally have to go sell a program, get a third party to fund it while you're begging the actual college to pay for it. So it's a very strange setup where this campus is basically at the, the end of the river and on the left there when it's, we had many students coming here for programs, and the comment that people won't come to Inuvik isn't accurate. People came here for programs, especially the rec leaders and the ENTP. It was very, very popular here. And I'll say very honestly, if a program worked here, it got taken away and sent to Fort Smith or Yellowknife and often failed there because it was the uniqueness of here that counts. And part of the dilemma with, offering here's a bunch of courses, let's see which ones are popular. It's a lot of work to hire qualified instructors, and they're not going to commit to coming if they don't know they have a job. So that also makes it a little bit difficult for the college. But there is huge potential here. We don't need to be a dying campus. This should be a flagship campus and a campus of Arctic learning. That's where we are. If they start offering an Arctic program in Yellowknife, that's just going to be sad.
Thank you,
But do
Councilor
they-
Merrill. Councilor Parrott.
No, I don't think it is.
Oh,
I didn't have a comment, but I do appreciate it.
I saw the hand up. I thought that was you wanting to make a comment. No, you don't have to make one if you don't want to. Councilor Lemieux.
Is the high school involved? Like, does the college go to the high school and just kind of get a feel for what those students are looking for? Like, is it people in Yellowknife making these decisions?
No, it's a combination. Yes, the college probably goes to every career fair there is, and they go with the whole suite that here's what you can take in Fort Smith, Yellowknife, or you can take office admin in Inuvik. So it's, and they are offering other courses, but they're online. They're offering those here, like there's instructors here that are offering online courses. But online is a tough one for a lot of students to do, especially if you've got other demands on your time. If you're, a mother with kids and you're trying to do a course online and you get 2 kids sick that day, well, your course online isn't gonna be a priority. So I think the in-class room, in-person courses are what work for people in the north.
I also know that back in the day, like we had all the housing there, right? That housing is no longer there. Does that play a big role in this as well?
No, they had at one point 44 housing units with the Northview Property REIT. And they've been giving those back over the years as the enrollment has dropped. So I talked to Robbie Joe, they have 10 units, but only right now 8 are occupied. And then there's 4 single students in the single student residence. And I believe that can house 30. So there's no problem with accommodation. Councilor Merrill.
So the other thing to keep in mind about this campus, it was often a labor market response. So when they opened the female young offenders facility, they offered the criminal justice program for 6 years. So it's often what's happening in the region, but it can be what's happening in the territory that drives that. So like the Indigenous arts program that was hugely popular, that was basically a cry for that. So they put it on. Unfortunately, it only went twice and didn't stay. So we need programs that stay, and we build that basis, and you build your instructors, and then you build your community.
Yep, thanks everyone for voicing your concerns on Monday and tonight, and I'll make sure that everyone gets a copy of the letter we sent to the board of directors. Okay, we just need a motion to go in camera. Moved by Councilor Wayman, seconded by Councilor Merrill.